faithless to one another, profaning the covenant of our fathers. Some translations, New King James, by dealing treacherously with one another. Revised Standard Version, by dealing treacherously each with his brother. So the central idea in each case is that I damage something in my relationship with God when I am careless in my relationship with you. So who are you sitting around tonight? The people around you. We like to think that your relationship with the Lord, my relationship with the Lord just goes like this, and it's my business. In fact, we call it my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. You two people just don't mess with it. It's my personal relationship. And what that used to mean was Don Horban doesn't get to go to heaven just because Michael and Daisy Horban were Christians. I need to know Jesus. But what it's come to mean is, don't you be telling me how to live my Christian life. I have my personal relationship with Jesus. I'm comfortable with it. Thank you very much. And so these three questions are designed to point out to the people. The prophet points out the people had committed hidden sins, possessed hidden agendas. Didn't happen in the church. Glossed over with kind words perhaps, but their hearts were turned against each other. That phrase, faithless to one another, or dealing treacherously. It actually comes from a single word in Hebrew, and it's the word, get this, it's the word for garment or cloak or wrap. These sins they're committing against each other, treacherously. The word for garment, cloak, or wrap. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. We still use the phrase cloak and dagger, right? To describe something that's cruel, but it's covert. The person doesn't just brandish a dagger, he conceals it under a cloak. We still talk about keeping something under wraps when there's a plot that is never made visible to the masses. A scheme is brewed in secret. People are left wounded, but nobody knows where the damage come from. Now, our era heightens the capacity for these kinds of sins by making them highly hideable. Cruel emails, faceless attacks of gossip, FaceTime, unforgiving hearts, justified personal vengeance. We know in all of those cases, we no longer have to be physically visible to do damage to someone else. And that kind of invisible breaking of covenant with the body of Christ makes these sins feel more acceptable. Who's going to know? That's exactly the kind of stuff Malachi is talking about. He will deal visibly, exposing some specific ways they were being faithless and dealing treacherously in the following verses. We'll get into that next Sunday night. But the principal sin underlying those questions is spelled out in this one verse. The point the people are missing is destroying them. First one we studied, they think they can worship God on their terms and not His. It wasn't possible then, and it isn't possible now. Secondly, they think they can separate their relationship from each other, in our case, the body of Christ, and their relationship with Jesus, that they can be compartmentalized. And I wouldn't do anything to hurt God's feelings. I wouldn't say anything disrespectful to Him. But like the Apostle John's going to say later on, that if this way, what flows out of you isn't pure and isn't loving and isn't gracious and isn't forgiving, then what flows out of you this way isn't establishing any kind of relationship with God. If what's John say? If you can't love your brother whom you have seen, you just turn around and look at the room. If you can't love your brother whom you have seen, what? You kidding me? You're going to talk about loving God whom you've never seen?